And today, indeed, we are going to introduce a new product. I think most of you know UGCS for ground control software, but now we decided to step on a different ground a little bit. And we worked for many years to automate data capture with drones. But now we decided to look also into data analysis. And there's a reason for that. We see, and basically most of you who are involved in drone surveys, you know how many data you typically bring from the field. And this is just an imagery, and then you generate maps. And for different applications, for different industries, the amount of imagery can be huge, can be thousands of images and dozens of square kilometers of maps. And as you know, and we see it very often, that imagery itself, even a high resolution imagery and a good map, it's not the end product. You typically need to bring some report to your client or to other department in your company to deliver some insights. And in most cases, this is about detecting a presence, for example, detecting a presence of an object on the image or making a territory segmentation. And there are many applications for these tasks. And in most cases, current approach is the following. People use just a manual work, and this process is time consuming, it's error prone, and not to mention that it's just boring. And now we see that the data processing itself, it takes significantly longer than the data capture. And we decided, and of course another approach is to automate data analysis with some machine learning algorithms. And that is something that people use right now. So they try to purchase some universal detectors that, for example, detect cars or detect some defects in the industrial object. But again, what we see right now is that there is no such a thing like a universal detector, because it cannot just work in all conditions in the world, because you may have a data set captured in winter, in summer, in spring, in autumn, with daylight conditions or with bad lighting conditions. And there are many territories, different vegetation types, different soil types, a lot of things that may affect the way a similar object presented in different environment. And and of course, people try to automate this by writing some homegrown algorithms using standard machine learning frameworks. What we try to do is to propose a system that can help you to automate your typical data processing task. When I say typical, I mean data object detection, data segmentation, like counting, measuring area sizes. And how it works right now. So all the machine learning tasks look very similar. So first of all, of course, you need somehow to specify to your machine learning algorithm what you want to detect. And That is typically called an annotation. So you need to manually annotate a small fraction of your data. The amount of data that you need to annotate manually, of course, depends on many conditions, but that can be like from 2 to 10% from your entire data set. Then you need to train your data, train your algorithm. And then you can apply it to the rest of your data and get some automatic annotations. And then use these annotations for some next level reporting. And basically that is what we implemented in our system. So we tried to deliver a friendly solution for people who are not very familiar with all this data scientist stuff, but they need to make these tasks on a regular basis. And where can this be applied? The system currently has been used for different tasks, and these are just several examples where it can be useful. So, for example, you may have an imagery of a long road, and you may want to detect locations where the quality of your road is not good, or is some defects. You also may have a footage from the power line with a normal camera, or, for example, you may have a rendered footage from the ultraviolet camera. And this is also where our system can help you to identify spots with some anomalies. Of course, you can use it for some very generic tasks like car detection, boat detection on the sea. Also, you can use it for search and rescue when you need to analyze a huge amount of data. And for all these tasks, you can get a data set, and you can train your own detector quickly. This is just a matter of, like, depending on the data type, this can be a matter of 30 or 60 minutes to get a first detector working and delivering your first results. We also can work with more sophisticated objects, with more complex shapes. So, for example, you can use it for territory segmentation. You can train a detector that will identify the regions with vegetation, will identify water resources, and many other object types. Which data can be used in our system? We, in this version, in current version, we support two major deliverables from the drone survey: raw imagery and orthophoto map. Both of these data types can be uploaded to our system. You can store them in our system, and you can analyze this data in our system. And of course, we do have, because as a part of our ground control software, we do have a photogrammetry processor for quick processing. Atlas also supports orthophoto map generation. So you can upload raw imagery with georeferencing and stitching map in our system. But we understand that in certain cases, people may prefer to use their existing photogrammetry packages. So we do support import from Pix4D from Metashape. So the only thing that you need is to upload GeoTIFF to our system. And we can start from that point. We also support vector data, because sometimes you may need, for a long-running project, you may collect imagery and build maps for a very, very long time. But sometimes you need to compare your existing state with some baseline. And the baseline is typically technical documentation, which can be exported from such systems like AutoCAD And what we offer is a simple function which allows you to import a DXF file and make a georeferencing inside our system. And a few words before we will switch to a demonstration. I also want to talk a little bit about deployment types. So we offer solution in two forms. First of all, it is available as a cloud-based solution. And in 2 weeks, we are going to introduce the pricing model for this cloud-based solution. Another option is on-premises installation. So we see that many companies, big enterprises, and some governmental institutions, they prefer not to share data to the cloud. And that is why we offer this option to deploy software in a private data center. So if you have, for example, such a case, you always can reach us and discuss how this can be accomplished. Okay, so the boring part is over. I'm going to switch to the application and tell you a little bit about the application itself. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Can you see? Okay,
yes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. So Atlas is a web-based application. So basically, it allows you, first of all, it allows you to structure your data. And we propose a very straightforward and simple approach. So you can have projects on the first level, and you can have data sets. How you will use this structure, that's up to you. That depends on your workflow type, but for most cases, it should work. Also, Atlas can be used in a multi-user environment. So we support teams. So for example, you can configure, you can add your team to the software and then grant access for team members to certain projects. And also we support different sharing options. For example, if you need to share a project with your client who doesn't have account in your organization, then you can generate a link for public sharing. This is very similar to what you can do with Google Drive, for example. So you can generate a link that you can just send to a client, and the client will not have to authorize. So, or you can add this link to your success story on your website and share your data to your clients. So, what is a data set? Basically, the data set consists of two major parts. One section allows you to upload your raw imagery, and another section allows you to upload maps or see the map generated in Atlas. And let's start from raw imagery analysis. This is a sample project. We collected this data on, we captured a small part of the road near our office. And we have several pictures in high resolution. And what we try to achieve, we try to detect cracks on the road. And as you can see, some of the images have this green light in the bottom left corner. And this is an indicator that this image has an annotation. And for example, if I'll switch to this image, you will see that, yeah, there is an annotation which points me to a problem on the road. The quality in this area is really poor, and we see a lot of cracks. And some very, very, very strange things. So, and definitely this part of the road has to be repaired. So, how we did that? I will switch to another image which has some manual annotation and demonstrate you the entire process. So, first of all, as I already told, as a first step, we need to make some manual annotation, because by default, the machine learning algorithm has no clue about what is a road defect. That's why we need to tell to this stupid algorithm how this defect may look like. So for that, I manually annotated certain areas. These blue rectangles define areas which, in my opinion, should be treated as an object of interest. And in this particular case, the crack on the road is my object of interest. I also, you might notice that there is a purple dashed rectangle. And this thing defines the training area. This, this is how we tell to the machine learning algorithm where is, like these two rectangles tell to the machine learning algorithms where is the object of interest, the blue shape. And the rest of the area within the purple shape is a background. So the rest of this area should be treated by machine learning algorithm as a background. And for example, if I want to annotate another image, what I need to do, I need to do just a simple drawing task. So for example, here we see bad region, which definitely can be labeled as a problem. So what can I do here? I can just draw a polygon around this area and assign the label to the shape. And then to feed this data to the machine learning algorithm during training process, I can also specify that, okay, the area around this defect is just a background. So use it for the training. Then, when I repeat this step multiple times, of course, I need to annotate several images. I need just to press train. And here I have two options. I can train my new detector from scratch, or I can select existing detector and try to improve its quality. That's a pretty normal thing. So in certain cases when, for example, you didn't feed enough annotation for your initial training, you may get bad results. And in this case, what you just need, you need to improve your annotation and then train it one more time. But you can train it not from the very beginning, not from the ground zero, but you can use existing trained detector as a starting point and try to improve the quality. The training process typically takes 30 or 60 minutes, depending on the size of your data set. So I will not start it right now, but those who have a demo access to the system and those who will get a demo access to the system can test it on their own. So, and the result, as I already shown you from in the very beginning, is highlighted in green. But okay, we can check this image set and we see that, yeah, a lot of images has this green label. Yeah, so some kind of a problem is identified here. So, but what can we do next? Because, yeah, these are all nice pictures, but what shall I do next? Of course, the main reason to do all this work is to provide some quality report to people who can make a road maintenance. So that is why you can export the identified problems from the system. So how can I do that? First of all, I can filter by the label, the entire list. And in this case, this is a big crack. And that squeezes my list to a smaller number of images. And as a next step, I can export detection report. Detection report, in this case, is a CSV file which lists images with assigned label big crack. And also it exports geographical coordinates of these images extracted from the EXIF data. So then you can import this data in your, for example, GIS system, or transfer this file to a team who will drive by car and check and validate this report, or maybe make some repair. Okay, that's all about image detection, because we have several interesting topics in the webinar. Let's move to the next dataset, where I'm going to show you how to work with maps. Again, just to reiterate a little bit. So we can stitch a map in Atlas, or you can upload GeoTIFF if you have one. For example, generated by X4D or Metashape or any other photogrammetry process. So, and in this particular case, we tried to demonstrate how you can make a territory segmentation. I will disable several layers just for a better visualization. So here we tried, we see this is a construction site. Basically, this is where our new office will stand, I hope, this year. And we make aerial photography from time to time to track the progress. Now, as you can see, we have a basement. So we are very close. Here we have two objects. First of all, we have a road. And also we have a small river. And I tried to detect these two objects. So for that, I made the annotation. And for example, if I switch manual annotation for the road, it looks as follows. So I selected with this polygonal tool a small part of the road. Also, I specified again the training zone to tell to the machine learning algorithm where is my object of interest and where is the background. Also, I added a few more similar segments just for diversity. And then I followed exactly the same process. As you can see, the toolbar looks very similar to what you saw in images section. And the buttons is absolutely the same. So you have a train button and always create new and select existing detector options. And also, if you trained your detector once, you can reuse it many times on this data set or in other projects. For this, you can select detect, and then you will have a dialog box where you can select the detector, existing detectors from the list, and apply this detector to your data set. So detectors are reusable. And in case of water resources, we have exactly the same process. So I annotated just a small portion, just a small segment of this river, then trained, and then green annotation shows the results. Of course, here is an example of imperfection. Of course, the detector can generate some false positives. And here you have two options. You can either improve the quality of your annotation and train your detector one more time, or if you do not have too many false positives, you can just delete it manually, and that's it. That's up to you how to clean the data. There are several options here. And again, the next question is how to use this data, how to use this knowledge, how to use this segmentation results. We understand that it doesn't make much sense to try to build a fully functional geographical information system inside Atlas. We want our system to do machine learning very good, but the rest of the operations which are covered with different GIS systems, we don't want to implement these things. Of course, we will implement some, but not all. So, and we can integrate with your GIS systems. So, and specifically, you can export your detection results as a vector layer. So if I press the download button in front of the detected layer for the road, I will be prompted to download the GeoJSON file, which can be imported to any GIS system. So, for example, I have a Quantum GIS on my computer, and I already uploaded the GeoTIFF to the Ortho for map. And then what can I do? I can just add a new vector layer. So this one, for example. Add, yeah, and as you can see, the picture is very similar to what you saw in Atlas. And here you can do any further processing of this data. So you can use it in your GIS system, in your computer-aided design system, etc. And one more thing about the vector data. As I mentioned during the presentation, sometimes you need to have a kind of a baseline for your surveys. And this baseline you typically get from some technical drawings. So on the project level, we have a section for vector data where you can upload DXF files. And again, here is an example. This is the technical drawing of our office. This is a floor plan. So I uploaded, just dropped the file into our system. Now, as you can see, we have a special screen for displaying this technical drawing. But this technical drawing, by default, it doesn't have any geographical coordinate. It doesn't have any binding. So I need to make a georeferencing. And I have a panel where I can specify correlation between the points on the technical drawing and geographical coordinates. And basically the process looks the following. So I can select the point, I can use this target icon and click on the point on the technical drawing, and then I can either enter coordinates manually, latitude and longitude, or I can open a screen where this point can be selected manually. And after that, I can run the georeferencing process. So it takes like a couple of minutes, and as a result, you get the technical drawing aligned on your orthophoto map. And now you see a lot of objects, because DXF by default, it has many layers for different types of information, just for some metal bars, for, I don't know, for some furniture, for many things. And you can just disable all these unnecessary layers. For example, if I want to see just a base main profile, yeah, I can disable all these things which may just hide the required details for me. And basically, this is a brief presentation. I tried to cover most important things. I want to repeat again that for those who wish to get demo access to the system, they can post us a message. We have a special form on our website where you can request a demo. And in a couple weeks, we are going to make the system publicly available. So let me check with my presentation. I think that's all for now. So we are ready to move to a Q&A section. So if we have anything on the Q&A. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yes,
so
I have questions.
Yeah. Okay. So I will try to walk through the list of questions and answer them as much as possible. So the question is from Derek. Two questions. Can data, order photos, point clouds, etc., hosted on your platform be accessed via WMS, WFS services to use in GIS applications? For now, no. We have such a thing on our roadmap, so for now you can just export. Maybe we will also implement the tile service for raster layers. Second question, pricing model always seem to be based around number of project sites. This may work for industries like mining or waste management, but doesn't work at all for surveying, engineering consultants. Will you have a pricing model based around data storage, bandwidth, processing time? The pricing will be unveiled in a couple details when we will release. Now we are polishing final details, but the general approach for us will be that we are going to charge, most probably we are going to charge for storage and for processing bandwidth for megapixels processed per month. So that is the most probable approach for this. Okay, next question from Frank. Hello, can we use Atlas with our own photogrammetric photography? Yes, you can upload your GeoTIFF to the system and then use all this annotation and annotation tools and build your own detector on top of your data. Question from Wesley. Can the analysis only be performed via images, or is it also possible to analyze ARL video content? Very good question. So we are thinking about adding video import. For now, the only way to do that is to use a special tool to split video into separate images with a certain sampling rate, and then upload as normal images to our system. But later, we are going to implement a direct video upload. Question from Thorsten. Can you also classify LiDAR data? For now, no. For now, no, but what you can do, you can, for example, if you need to make a territory segmentation, you can get your aerial photography, then you can make a territory segmentation using this aerial photography, and then, for example, you can combine this result of the territory segmentation generated by Atlas with your LiDAR data and at least see which points in your point cloud feed into these classified segments. That in my opinion, may help in some cases just to cut unnecessary parts of the point cloud. Question from Art. What detectors are used available in the system? For now, we are doing segmentation. So as you can see, we try to provide you the accurate shapes of the objects. So not bounding boxes, but shapes. We do support two options. You can configure your segmentator to generate either convex objects, or if you know that objects are complex, like vegetation areas, like rivers, roads, then you can switch option to generate non-convex shapes. And we do, and if we have our own trained detectors, can we import them in Atlas to run? Good question. We think about maybe not such an option to import third-party detectors and run them in our own cloud, but if you install system on premises, then you definitely can build your own detectors and add them to the system. The architecture allows that, to add such an external module. If you want to use a cloud-based solution, we are thinking about API for developers. So, for example, the processing can run somewhere on-site, but you can use the system for storage, for basic protocols, interfaces. So I think later this year we will introduce API. Question from Ray. Is multispectral cameras supported? For now, we do not support multi-band TIFF files as a source imagery. We plan to implement this support later this year. So, but if you can, for example, process and make a photogrammetry processing outside Atlas, and then generate just a normal GeoTIFF, then I think you can upload it to Atlas and try to make your detectors. Will it be possible to count objects in specific areas only via upload of KML or the specific areas? Oh, yeah, we have a selection tool that allows you to specify a region, and all objects which are within this region will be counted, and you will get a report, and then you can export these objects as a GeoJSON and use somewhere in external systems. But for now, you cannot upload KML. We will allow to upload KML shapes soon. Question from Kevin. Will it be possible to bulk import export KML shape files to count? Oh, seems like that's okay. That's the same question. Yeah, in the future it will be possible to import KML and shape files and export report as a CSV. A question from anonymous attendee. When you say 10% of your data, meaning the required amount of data for annotation, how many samples does that translate to? That's literally a percentage. So depending on your entire data set and variability of your data, of your environment, of the background types of the object may look like on different pictures. So that's really percentage. So depending on your data set size, you may need, you will get a certain amount of images to be annotated. So there is no a universal absolute number, unfortunately, or fortunately. I don't know. Okay. The question from Richard. It looks like the algorithm also marked some areas in the first annotated image that might not be part of the road. Will there be a way to remove the annotation after the fact so that the algorithm will be better trained? Yes, that's exactly what I tried to demonstrate. So I will just repeat. So yes, you have the options. If the number of these false positives is small enough, you can tune your data manually. For example, if you know, if you exact coordinates of your road and you know that objects detected outside a certain corridor are definitely not defects on the road, then you can cut these objects automatically. But in Atlas, you can improve your annotation. For example, for those areas where you have false positives, you can just add empty train zones, which will tell to the algorithm that this area, it's just a background. There are no useful information, no useful objects. Yeah, so the answer is yes. Question from Richard. For training the detectors, will each detector in an organization learn with more input from within the organization, or will it also benefit from the training from other organizations' detector? For now, the detectors are scoped by organization. So we do not share this knowledge. It's an interesting concept. We're still thinking how to implement it, because just not to violate any data access policies of one organization. So now the detector is scoped within the organization. Question question from Kevin. When counting individual objects, example trees, sometimes many trees are detected as one tree. Will it be possible to define max and mean size of detected objects? Yes. Yes, that is something that we're going to implement. We played with several data sets and we realized that it's must-have feature. The question from Frank. What about subjects in movement animals? Of course, if you think about counting of objects which move, you may get not very accurate results. But there are several techniques. Basically, we participated in one project where we had to count animals, and the approach was the following: to company which made aerial photography for that project, they tried to make, they found a drone with a very good camera, with a high resolution, and we tried to make as small, so we tried to make a small amount of pictures as possible, just to make the survey faster. So the drone had to fly high. They collected very few pictures, and that allowed us to minimize this accuracy error, because objects were not able to move too far from their current location. So the question, again, the question from Kevin, will it be possible to batch process multiple maps and specific areas, multiple KML shapefiles, and export specific counted objects as KML XL? For now, you process maps one by one. We will add batch processing for maps. For images, you can process multiple images, all the images in the data set. And then you can export the report with images associated with a certain label. Question. Okay, there are many questions from Kevin. Will you support keyboard shortcuts? You can navigate on the image set with the keyboard. For placing annotations, if you have any suggestions, you can post us how you see it, because for drawing shapes, maybe mouse is most convenient way of making shapes. Also, we support, we can clone, if you have, for example, many objects of a similar size, like, I don't know, piles on the construction site, which can be annotated with simple circles, then you can just draw one circle, and then with the simple clicks on the map, you can replicate these circles on other piles also. So you can just clone the existing shape multiple times. Will you include DSM height data in the future for the detector improvement? Yes, we are going to do that. So what else? Can the object detection be used in such a way as to count objects passing through the predetermined area? You can actually, there are options here. If you mean some movement detection, then no. If you just want to analyze your aerial photography, for example, map, and see how many objects of a certain type reside in a certain area, then yes, now you can just select an area and you will see the number of objects within this area. Do you have a solution to display panoramas? No, we cannot display panoramas. Is it possible to load pre-existing learnings of the machine? Yes, for organization owner, it is possible to export learnings. Yeah. Question from Derek. Sorry, I missed part of the georeferencing DXF file. Will Atlas use DXF project file if present? For now, we just use a DXF. And georeferencing is made manually. I think later we will improve this functionality if we will see that it is highly requested, and let us know if it is something that you are looking for. We definitely will add support for project files and for embedded georeferencing as well. Question from David. I think you mentioned search. Was the search and rescue purposes of humans? If so, how would this work in the learning to do this function? So during your search and rescue operations, you typically collect a lot of data. So you capture humans from the air in different positions, in different environment. So if you have such a data set, so you can, with our system, you can use this data set to train your human detector. And then for further searches, you can reuse this detector. And this detector will help you to identify pictures which have a human on it. So this is basically, if you have any specific question, you can always reach us and we will make you a demonstration and can discuss any details. And basically, I think we almost answered most of the questions. So if still some questions remained unanswered, then we will definitely answer these questions by email. And if you want to continue conversation and request for a demo, then feel free to submit us your request, and we will arrange a demo for you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. I see there are a lot of people, and I believe from different parts of the world. So thank you for being here, and I hope that you and your family are safe in those times of this coronavirus crisis. And we are very grateful that you were making it today to this webinar.